Action.
Glasses have come off. You took the glasses off. You are ready to go.
Yeah.
It is a Monday, I guess, afternoon now, 12:30 Central. I'm Sara Lesky. He's Jamie Thomas. Thanks so much for checking in as we get you set for the Winnipeg Jets 2-game road trip that kicks off this evening in Utah. The first time that the Jets have been to Utah this season.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah. Delta Center is the home. A little bit later in the show. Well, pretty soon, actually. We have two very impressive guests.
We do.
Very impressive.
Dan Robertson.
Yeah.
It's going to give us an idea of what Salt Lake City is like, as well as what the Delta Center is like.
Yeah. And then, of course, Doug MacLean, former GM and coach, will be joining us a little bit later, talking about his book, The Four Nations Face-Off, and the cross-check from one Connor McDavid.
You are very big on that right now. It was the
I'm
first thing
so
Jamie said to
huge.
me when I walked in and saw him this morning. What did you think about it?
Well,
So we will.
this guy's Connor Garland's tackling him. So eventually.
Well,
You
you
have to
can get
send a
into a big
message.
discussion with
Yeah.
Doug about it. Looking forward to it as always. So great to see so many of you already in the chat. Don't forget to smash that like button, as we
Yes.
say. You can watch us all the time on X, Facebook, and YouTube as we get you ready. As the Jets finish off their homestand, we always joked from the beginning that it felt as if this was a homestand that would just go on and on. This is the first time this calendar year that the Jets have hit the road 4-2-2 on the homestand. They did not get the win against Calgary. They, you could say, deserved the win in terms of the chances and the opportunities that they had, but certainly they got goalied, I think is
Dustin Wolf.
what I would say.
Yeah, well, we were joking about the Calder Trophy race with Ryan Leslie before the game, and there he is. We're going to update that the next time Calgary's in town, which is already Sunday. So we'll get back to that, but he was unreal. Although afterwards, after the game, Kyle Connor and Adam Lowry were kind of talking about how it was more on them.
Right.
There was a lot of shot because Calgary closed up the middle of the ice. A lot of shots coming from the outside. The one goal they did score was a shot from the point, and Adam Lowry tipped it. That was more what Kyle Connor was saying they had to do a lot more of because you were going to beat him in tight, or if you saw it, he was going to make the save. So Dustin Wolf, one of the smaller goaltenders in the NHL, but one of the better goaltenders, and certainly you got to take away his eyes, or else it seemed like whatever they threw at him, he was ready for.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Morning skate is underway. It's just got going in Salt Lake City right now. Mitchell Clinton saying that the team has hit the ice. Line rushes have not happened yet, but Nemesnikov and Appleton are out there in regular jerseys. So I'm intrigued to see. They didn't skate yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
They just traveled. What these line rushes look like. Could this be the return of one or both of these players? What does that mean for the lines as well?
Yeah.
Lots of intrigue going into this morning skate. They play tonight in Utah, and then they play on Wednesday in Denver.
Yeah, Denver
against the Avs. That'll be another great one.
Yeah, we haven't seen enough of the Avs at all lately either. So let's just jam everybody together. And Utah's here Friday, so let's just get everybody together. We may as well bring Dan Robertson on the show again on Friday just to make sure everybody's familiar with everything.
Might as well.
Yeah.
Winnipeg goes into this game sitting first in the Central Division, 6 points ahead of Dallas. Goes Winnipeg, Dallas, Minnesota. Now Colorado is in that first wild card spot. They are 1 point back of Minnesota, 2 back of Dallas, and wouldn't you know, it's Martin Luther King Day in the States right now, so games already underway south of the border. And one of the games looking forward to today would be Minnesota, Colorado.
Yes.
So a lot of eyes. If you're a Central Division fan or a watcher, you want to keep an eye on that one to see what that could do for the standings today.
They'll always be in flux as long as the Winnipeg Jets sit on top of the standings. They can do whatever they want at that point.
There you go.
That's what we're looking for. And you know where else we're looking for? We're looking for a guy that calls games on the network that used to employ you, but still somewhat employs you. So you're like taking paychecks in from multiple places. You know what I mean? Like I'm in awe of you.
Bring him on. Just bring him on.
And the person that signs Sarah's checks is Dan Robertson. And he's joining us from the Delta Center right now. And Dan, I know I've used this term quite a bit in my on the show, but take us to Salt Lake City. What's it like being in the home of the Utah Hockey Club?
Oh, it's really cool, guys. I'd not been here before. And when we were landing yesterday, I mean, it's spectacular, right? It's beautiful with the mountains around. Even they're a little closer than they are in Denver by comparison. So you land, and then just getting off the plane on the runway, looking around, it was staggeringly beautiful. And our hotel is just right across the street. It's a really nice area in the arena now. Obviously, my first time in here, and we've seen it on TV. It's a little different. It's kind of squared off at the ends, and it holds like 16. I think it's 16.2, and they're going to make modifications. But it's interesting, right? It's like part of the reason I feel lucky to do this job. But I don't think anything else would have ever taken me to Salt Lake City. But I'm glad I'm here. It's really neat. And talked with Liam O'Brien, he's from Halifax. So talking about being here, and he said, they've been welcomed with open arms, and I know they're treated exceptionally well by ownership. So it's really cool to be here.
So you've had the opportunity to be able to be inside Delta Center now. Have you had the chance to make your way up to your broadcast booth yet? I'm always intrigued by what it looks like, because I was just reading through the information that the team had sent out, and it sounds as if everybody's maybe in a little bit of different sections than what a typical broadcast setup might look like.
Yeah, I haven't been up there yet. I think because I don't want to see it, because if it's too tight, and I'll get annoyed and I'll be angry the rest of the day. I'm somebody, I like a lot of room. It's perfect in Winnipeg because I've got my big spot there, and John Matheson, our stats guy, is off to my left, and you know what?
Kev's between the benches.
Yeah, well, that's perfect, right? Kev's between the benches, and it's great when he's up there with me, but we're kind of crammed in, so we'll see what we have to deal with. But that's first world problems, right? I mean, it'll be cool. It'll be another stadium, another arena that I've called a game in. So I look forward to it tonight.
What people don't see is that when I walk past the TV booth here at Canada Life Center, you see Dan stretching. He's like, look at all of this space that I have. It's so great.
I might put a hammock in there, Sarah.
Yeah, there's a lot of room for activities in the broadcast booth here at Canada Life Center. I know you're by the ice a little bit. Vladislav Nemesnikov in a normal jersey, same with Mason Appleton. Do you see any line rushes right now? Not to put pressure on you, my friend.
Well, before they started, I kind of got somewhere quiet here, so I would be able to hear you guys. But Nemesnikov lives a floor below me in the building, Toronto Square, and I always bump into him. And he said the other day, I think I'm going to play on Monday. So there you go.
Inside information.
Yeah, I think it's okay to leak that. It's not startling or anything like that, but it will be interesting to see what the line combinations will look like. Not only that, I mean, Fleury is getting ready to play, I think, and so there's some decisions to be made. Will they keep that Adam Lowry new line, if you will, together? And Appleton, like you said, is out there, so decision time is looming for these guys here in the not too distant future.
Does he live right below you, Dan? Do you have to be concerned about being too loud?
No, I'm pretty quiet anyway. But he lives right beside, actually, Iafallo and Kevin Sawyer, who's a big noisemaker. So that's the problem.
Kay Sawyer is the biggest noisemaker of the whole. I think they've had to move him multiple times because the Jets players have been complaining about all the stuff that goes on there. So, Kevin Sawyer always causing problems, as he tends to do, right, Dan?
The music.
Yeah, he plays a lot of that house music with the
2 a.m.
Jamie, I have to tell you guys. So surrounding the arena there's like a John Stockton Road and a Carl Malone Street as well. So I'm hoping in honor of that, Jamie, you'll remember John Stockton used to wear those little wee shorts? Yeah. I think you should wear those, the grape smugglers. You should wear those around the office a little more often.
The little tiny shorts.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a terrible vision that people don't need to really think of, but I really appreciate that. So
yeah, seriously.
Now I'm like,
the mountain air is making me silly.
Dan, really, we'll let you get back there. We know that you'll have the room will open up shortly. So thanks for giving us a quick glimpse as to what it's like in Salt Lake and the arena. And we look forward to the call tonight on TSN.
Sounds great, guys. Talk to you soon.
Thanks so much, Dan. I saw
Voice
someone.
Jets.
He's the best.
I think he's pretty much, that's like bragging though, like emphatically, just to let you know what's going on.
That's right.
So, yeah.
So for those wondering, Mitchell Clinton has tweeted out the line rushes.
Okay,
it looks like Nemesnikov will return tonight, not Appleton. And it looks like he slots in on the third line. So top six remaining the same, that Ehlers, Lowry, Iafallo line remaining the same. The third line being Nino Niederreiter, Vladislav Nemesnikov, Cole Perfetti. Then you move down to David Gustafson, Rasmus Kapari and
Mhm.
Morgan Barron on the fourth line. Doesn't look like there are any changes to the D.
Mhm.
Fleury and Billy Hanelon being your
odd man
extras.
out.
Yeah. So
Okay. Well, I mean, Colin Miller played, considering what had happened to Colin Miller beforehand that had him out of the lineup with the fractured larynx. I thought he played pretty well, considering.
well, absolutely.
But
Yep.
I mean, there's like 4 games in a row where they were absolutely dominant defensively. So I don't know if you really want to break that up, but maybe Hayden Fleury's not as close as they want, or maybe you just don't want to break. Well, you can't certainly. There's multiple options on a third pairing because you're not going to break up Pionk and Sandberg because, and I mean, I can go down the list, but it's going to be that 6-7 defenseman will be there'll be a lot of interchangeable parts as we go forward here with all 8 of them being healthy.
Yes, absolutely. You mentioned you're not going to mix up the top 4.
Yeah.
Sandberg returning. He's played so well since coming back from his injury, and you had the chance to catch up with him on the podcast recently.
Oh, well done. So how about we do this?
What's the worst place you've been hit outside of when you broke your foot with the Stamkos block?
I've been hitting a lot of bad spots. It always seems to find the spots that aren't covered by padding. A lot of times, when you open up, you get it up in the hamstring. I'd say like the worst one is probably if you get it on the top of the knee when you go down. Sometimes your shin pad opens up, and might be controversy. My breezers, not my pants, slide up and they get it right on the top of the knee, and you feel that one the next morning. It usually takes a day or two to loosen that knee up.
He was so great, and his wife is a dentist, so we got into the benefits or not benefits of being married to a dentist.
Yes. Well, you got to think if it's a hockey player, though, there's
Yeah.
got to be a benefit to being married to a dentist. No?
Oh, he just says she's probably judging him all the time
Right.
as soon as you walk in. I did also ask him about, like, you have obviously bruises all over your body from blocking shots. Your wife has to think you're somewhat crazy, and he said, yeah, she thinks I'm nuts. So
both of them have great personalities.
Yes.
Love the personality
Yeah.
of Dylan Sandberg. Same with his wife, Destiny, as well. So you can see those two have so much fun together and are a presence on social media as well, which provides a lot of entertainment, I think, for a lot of Jets fans through. But that podcast is out right now, so people can go to Winnipeg Jets YouTube channel as well as on the website. It is as well, and take a listen. It is certainly
he was great.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's very
No.
entertaining. You've done a great job with those.
When he
interviews
sits
this
down,
year.
you realize how big he is in the tiny little chair that we sit. And he looked like, I don't know.
Did
why.
you feel small?
I felt like 4 feet tall. Yes. We interview. That's the other part where people realize when you interview players, like, you're being critical of them and they're just so much bigger than you are.
Yeah.
When we used to cover the NBA too. That was the worst.
Yes.
Interviewing somebody like 6'9" and you're like this.
Yeah. Well, you know what though? There's a bunch on the team. I mean, Logan Stanley when he has skates on
Yeah.
considerably taller. Tyler Myers when he was here as well. And
Yes.
those are
Dustin
all wear.
Byfuglien.
Yeah, but not to the same extent as
Right.
those two. That
Yes.
when if I'm wearing say sneakers,
Yeah.
flats, and you look and go, this was a very poor choice on my part today.
Bench interview, right? For that would probably be a little.
Yeah,
strong.
that's why post game when we do the 3 stars interview,
Yeah.
I usually try to make sure that they always stand on the ice because
Mhm.
then I at least get a little bit of if I'm on the bench, they're on the ice.
Here, I thought you were getting bigger, taller.
Wow.
Holy
Whoa.
moly!
Careful
Wow.
choice of words
Wow.
there. Wow. All right.
Let's move
Oh.
along here.
We'll have Doug MacLean. We'll have Doug MacLean join us shortly. So yeah, exactly. We'll have Doug MacLean join us shortly. So looking forward to that. Speaking of great personalities, he is certainly one of them. If you are just joining us now, again, it looks like Vladislav Nemesnikov is going to return to the lineup tonight, centering the third line. I am expecting that it'll be Connor Hellebuck back in net today with Eric Comrie having gotten.
I mean, I feel like we don't address this enough. Like, but that was a theme also after the game on Saturday.
Yeah.
It's just how bad they're feeling for Eric Comrie.
How could you not? Is that not the first thing? I mean, they played a good game. So
Yeah.
you're not going to win all the games even if you're playing well.
Yeah.
There will be games that you lose. But the first thing I said, oh, poor Comrie. That poor man gets no run support when he is in net. you've got to think that, I mean, Scott O'Neill spoke about it afterwards.
Yeah.
The players feel awful for him. And thankfully, Eric Comrie, although it's got to be really challenging for him and frustrating that he has the personality that he does.
So what is it? 12 goals they've scored in his last 8 starts.
Yes. How is that possible? This is a team that averages
highest scoring team in the NHL.
Oh, and I know that people in the chat right now that have been watching as well feel for Eric Comrie. How much do you feel for him?
Yeah.
Just with every goal is in, and think, oh no, every save that Dustin Wolf made. Just please get one for Comrie. I so badly want to speak to him after the game and be able to have all of the fans cheering for him, because he certainly has been deserving of a win.
So I know Kyle Connor and Adam Lowry were a little upset with how they played, but I just felt like Ehlers had a breakaway. There was great chance in tight for Mark Scheifele in the third period, and then Kyle Connor on the power play. There was a one-timer. So I know you don't want to give the goaltender too much credit, but at some point of the 38 saves, there's some great A ones in there and I understand that you don't want to go, oh, he was so great, but they haven't been goalied very much at all this year. But it just seems like whenever Eric Comrie's playing, they get goalied or just not enough offense. So it's borderline. I think you're almost like 8 games, like haven't won since November, and you hate talking about it.
Yes, but I mean, again,
maybe when your home ice comes out, it'll end the curse.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Such a great guy. You just want to see him get the win in short order. It looks like Connor Ingram's going to get the start. Utah had their morning skate. Obviously, home team goes first.
Yeah.
Looks like Connor Ingram will get the start for the Utah Hockey Club. He's 7-5-3 on the season, 3.38 goals against average, 879 save percentage. No Mikhail Sergachev. He is day to day.
That's a big loss for
them.
them.
So the one of their big defensemen. So he will not be in the lineup tonight going up against Winnipeg. This is the end of a long homestand. Just like the Jets had the long homestand, same thing for Utah. They are 2-4 on it. They are coming in though off of a 4-2 win against St. Louis the other night.
And it was when Utah was here for the first time this season, it was another tight game. So it was just that run of games against the Central where they were tight checking. Kind of 100% can expect that again tonight, which is, we saw what you got spoiled with the Kyle Connor hat trick in the first period against Vancouver. And now you're back to tight checking again with the Calgary Flames. And Scott O'Neill had said that they clog up the center part of the ice. It's hard to get pucks through, and you saw what pucks got through Dustin Wolf's save. So more of the same, I think, from Utah, although Utah has a little more talent than the Calgary Flames. Talent.
We got a little bit more talent.
I'm just kind of country night is rolling over into me.
You still haven't let it go yet.
No.
This is the first of 3 straight games against Central Division for the Jets. They are 12-4 against Central, as you mentioned. I mean, it's a lot of Utah here this week.
Yep. The schedule is very interesting.
It is
the way they laid it out for this one. So I mean,
I would love. It's got to be all done electronically now. Of course, everyone puts it. There's got to be. I'd be fascinated though at watching the program and the different kind of iterations that come out of it.
Because there's always a schedule maker, but obviously has a program.
It has to be. Could you imagine if you were the person that didn't? We used to say that about the CFL. It's one thing if it was 8 teams. You can't do 32 teams and cross.
And have multiple events inside your building.
Like a beautiful mind all set up everywhere.
I would love to see if that was one person, if they were the one that was in charge of that. So
you could not pay enough to do that job.
Someone who has a beautiful mind.
Wow.
An author. He's got a big smile on his face as I give him that one. And it's friend of the show, and it is Doug MacLean.
Doug, he has been on fire all morning, and oh dear.
Oh, Sarah, I've been on fire too since I heard from Jamie. Like I haven't heard from him since the day I got fired. I don't think I even heard from him that day, but I'm like Trump. I'm having a comeback, I guess, Anyway, good to be on with you guys.
I'll never forget. Hey, Doug, remember when I first started in Toronto at Sportsnet? There's this huge press release comes out. You did not let me live that down for like 2 months, basically, because there's just this. It was overdone. Of course, I'm rolling in. I'm anchoring Sportsnet West regional broadcast, and you bugged me about that for like seriously 2 months. I'm not even kidding.
Jamie, I didn't have a clue who you were, to be quite honest. I'm kidding.
And you still don't. Yeah.
You were one of my favorites. There's no denying that. You were one of my favorites. We used to sit and watch the games and have some great laughs. So I'm really, I was thrilled when I saw you got the job in Winnipeg, and congratulations. And you were a good man. And Sarah, I was a big fan of yours too, watching you on TSN.
Oh, well, thanks so much, Doug. I always enjoyed, I was telling Jamie that I always loved, especially in those early years, for the cup finals and everything like that. I mean, you guys had such a great crew over there. We've kind of had everybody from your panel on recently that was on there. Millard was on not too long ago. Kipper was on a couple days ago. So always lots of laughs with you guys.
They're real. They've got no personalities, though. Eh? They've got to loosen up. Like they take themselves. They take like Shannon and Millard, and they take themselves too seriously. They got to relax.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like it's just like it's Dud Central half the time when you talk to those guys. Hey, you've decided to write a book, and it's already out right now, and it's called Draft Day: How Hockey Teams Pick Winners or Get Left Behind, which pretty much tells you everything you need to know, especially in a smaller market like here in Winnipeg, how important Draft Day is. Tell us a little bit about your book.
You know, it's funny. When I retired, I got a call probably a year after, from Simon and Schuster. Would I, and a literary agent asking if I'd be interested in writing a book. And I said, no, I've got zero interest in writing a book. Zero. I thought they wanted it on my life, but no, they wanted it on the draft. So when I thought about it, like I've read Berkey's book and Keenan's book, and okay, enough. We're all, but anyway. So listen, they said the draft, and it really kind of intrigued me because draft day was one of my favorite days in my 24 years in the NHL, where it was just a special time, and so it conjured up many memories of what went into the draft and how it all came about, and the great picks I made and the lousy picks I made, and and the staff, and it just brought up so many memories. I talked to like 30 GMs and presidents when I was writing the book and got their input. The analytics chapter was the only one that nobody would be quoted except Berkey. Berkey was the only guy that would let himself be quoted on analytics. So that was a challenging one to write. But look, it was a fun process. It took like almost 3 years to do it because we were delayed by COVID. So Scott Morrison was the writer, or ghost writer, or whatever writer. So I start off and I write 8,000 words. I wrote like 6 chapters myself on my iPad, sitting by the pool and on the beach down here in Florida and at the cottage. So I send it to Scott. I send the first 6 chapters to Scott. I think it was like 20,000 words or something, 25,000 words. And Scott phones me and he said, Doug, do you not use paragraphs when you write? It came in one straight line, 25,000 words. And I phoned my daughter, who's my computer expert in Cincinnati, said, Mackenzie, like, what's up? And she said, Dad, you've got to change the settings so it goes in paragraphs. So poor Scott, but I'll tell you what, Scott Morrison and I had a ball doing it, and he's such a Scott. You guys know Scott, what a wonderful person he is, and we just had a ball, and we sort of really forged a great bond and friendship throughout the writing of the book. So we did have fun, and you know what? It became a bestseller in Canada. It's out in paperback now, and we're really thrilled about that. So you got to be a hockey person to really like the book. There's so many names in it and things, but it's as the best line I use in the book when they said Kiprio said to me, "What do you think it cost you taking Brule ahead of Kopitar in the draft?" As you know, I had the 6th pick.
Yeah.
And I thought going into that draft, Montreal were taking Brule. I did. And all of a sudden we're sitting at the table and they take Carey Price. And I look at my guys and go, who the hell's Carey Price? We had him rated 22nd. Every team had him rated in the 2nd round. And they step up and take Carey Price. So all of a sudden we've got Brule Kopitar. And I made the call to go Brule. My staff weren't really anti. They liked Brule a lot. So Kippy said, what do you think it cost you? And I said, Kippy, I would say it cost me probably personally about $30 million I'd take in Brule, because if I didn't, I'd still be a GM today. So that's what. And you know what's funny thing? I got a note from Brule this week saying he just got my book, and I say to everybody, if you use melatonin, you don't have to use it. Just read this book at bedtime, and you know. But anyway, look, it was fun, and all the kids I drafted over the years. It's funny how many I still hear from them and run into them. So draft day is special. You know, it really is.
You said that, draft day is one of your favorite times of year. What about in season when you're looking at trade deadline? When you were a GM, what was trade deadline or leading up to it? Because we're in that time of year, obviously, Doug, right now, where everyone starts speculating about who could be doing what or what teams have which needs.
Yeah, it was always fun. And this is the time of year where Bob McKenzie would drive you crazy phoning every day. And Kiprios would be phoning every day. And other people who I didn't really know would be phoning, looking for scoops. But you know what? It is fun. You get your pro scouting staff together, your head of amateur together, and you really, you do the pro scouting meetings so you're prepared as to who you really think you have a legitimate chance to get, who you think you might be able to make the right fit, the right trade with people. GMs are a great group. It was I listened to Berkey the other day saying about, a lot of guys try to rip you off royally, but most guys try to be fair when you're dealing with them, to be quite honest. And it's always an interesting time at this time of year, because you're giving up highly skilled or good players or certain type of role players, and you're getting back benefits for the future typically. So it's a great time of year. You do a lot of talking, you have a lot of sleepless nights, you spend some great times with your staff going over names. And we had a lot of fun on trade deadline day too. Those big days, the draft, free agent day. I mean, those are always big days. And we used to sit, we sit in my office, and I had a good sized boardroom attached to the office, and we'd watch TSN and we'd watch Sportsnet and what the experts were saying, and it was always a fun time, really.
Doug, there's as a manager too. Four Nations Face-Off is coming up next month. It's about growing the game. I always wondered, as a general manager, the battle between you realize you have to grow the game and then concerned about losing one of your star players in at the Olympics or the World Cup. Let's just say, what's that battle like?
It's a tough one. And I mean, you're looking at Toronto with Matthews staring straight in the face with the injuries this guy has had, obviously a superstar in the league, the McDavids, those type of players, you're petrified about losing them. We've seen some big injuries at this time of year, at the, the Olympics and some of these tournaments. This is a scary one right in season, much like the Olympics, only 4 countries, great for fans. I agree. It's great for growing the game. But I'm telling you what, if a Matthews or one of those players goes down and it costs teams a Stanley Cup or costs you winning a round, this is all trade deadline, these type of things. First round of the playoffs is where GMs and coaches mainly lose their jobs. So it's a really challenging time. And it's funny if people say, well, you get fired. I get fired a lot, in my career. And, it's funny. Jill and I we've been married 48 years, and we're living in our 29th home.
Holy cow!
We're in Florida. We bought this place in 06, but we're living in our 29th house. And what happened is we'd moved to a city, and the first year we'd rent a house, and then the second year we'd buy a house, and then the third year I'd get fired, and then we'd rent and buy, and then I get fired again. So it was it's a tough time and when I see GMs and coaches get fired, I'm with them, because it's a terrible time. I remember when I got fired after coaching the Florida Panthers, we had a tremendous run, and I remember phoning Jill on the way home and saying, hey honey, that guy that comes every week and trims our hedges and does the lawn and all that? And she said, yeah. I said, you can fire him. I'm available to do that job now. So it's a really tough time in your life, to be quite honest, and it's not fun,
Yeah.
But the deadline is what makes, there's some great players, and for a team like the Jets, who really want to have great success this year in playoffs, poised to hopefully have a run.
Last one for you before we let you go. A lot of controversy over the weekend. Connor McDavid cross-checking Connor Garland gets him in the face, but there was a lot of stuff going on before that. Are you okay with Connor McDavid defending himself? I know you're not okay with the way maybe he did it, but is this what star players have to do and what they have to put up with?
Look, I was with Stevie Yzerman for 5 years in Detroit when he was a superstar in the league, and I saw somebody talk about this the other day. Nobody ever went near him. Why? Bob Probert was there, and Gerard Gallant was there, and you hate to see that. You hate to see cross checks in the face. There's no excuse for a cross check in the face. But look, a goal when you're playing McDavid is to frustrate him as much as you possibly can. And I'm a McDavid fan. There's nobody wants to win the cup more. I love the way he plays the game. I love everything about him. Some superstars want to start a clothing line, and some guys want to win the Stanley Cup. He wants to win the Stanley Cup. So look, I'm not going to criticize Connor McDavid. He's a great player and he's tough, and I love that. He's tough.
Well, I'm sorry it took me so long to phone you after you got laid off from Sportsnet.
But he's really sorry.
Yeah, I like to make up for it.
Well,
so
congratulations on all your success. I knew you had potential when you were with me. I knew you had a lot of potential, and I'm really proud. Now I see all these guys that were hanging around me are all media superstars, and I'm really proud of you guys.
It's the Doug MacLean trickle down effect.
That's right.
It's the Doug MacLean coaching tree, pretty much what it is.
Like Kiprios, leave me alone, Kiprios. I have to talk to this guy every Friday. Like, leave me alone.
I don't want to talk about this anymore.
And he says, why don't you come into Toronto and you can come on live? I said, Nick, you don't pay me to go on your show. What am I going to fly? Pay my own way to Toronto to go on with you? Give me a break.
Well, continued success with the book, Doug, and all the best. Thanks. And enjoy everything. Thanks so much for doing this.
Thanks for making some time for us, Doug. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, and continue good luck, and go Jets. Thanks, care.
Doug.
Thanks, Doug.
Take care.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
As you can see, I worked in a fun place.
You did, yeah.
Not near as much fun as here, let me just say.
But no shortage of personalities during that, in particular during that time at Sportsnet.
Yes.
You guys you think of you and Ryan, and then obviously, as we said, the panel, the hockey panels were great.
Yeah, we had a lot of TSN crew to start the season. We're kind of catching up with Sportsnet crew now.
Yeah, it's great. You got to mix them. We got to mix everybody. Got to mix everybody all in. Okay, as we are finishing up here, nothing that I've seen.
Oh my gosh! Oh, by the way, Doug, you're fired.
Oh, it was so nice of Doug to spend a couple minutes with us and tell us stories. And you really should check out, especially for those of you that are big hockey fans.
Yes.
It is really interesting to hear the perspective of draft day. And, he made the comment about Gilbert Brûlé, and I was in Vancouver at that time when he got drafted. And although he didn't pan out, he was certainly he was highly touted. He was highly touted, as we have seen many times over the years, players that are highly touted going into the draft. And then you don't pan out, then you see some sleepers that nobody was anticipating.
And how did you miss this guy? And 100%. How could they miss this guy? Ask the Boston Bruins about Al Connor sometime. I'm sure they never heard of that one.
You know what? We'll ask someone from Boston when they're there.
When you had 3 picks in a row in the first round and you saw Kyle Connor, what were your thoughts? Do you ever have nightmares about this, or
you would have to think that the possibilities just across the board when you see some of the maybe we'll have
no.
Okay. We'll go on.
Let's find Cam Neely.
Yeah, let's find Cam. Let's ask him.
He's not intimidating at all, so we'll ask him that question.
That's right. Yeah. You ask that one.
I will.
I'll just stand back and say thanks so much, Cam.
Yeah.
Just a quick reminder as we wrap things up here right now. It looks like Vladislav Nemesnikov is going to be returning to the Winnipeg Jets lineup tonight, centering the third line in between Nino Niederreiter and Cole Perfetti. Kapari, Gustafsson, and Barron on the fourth line. So Dominic Toninato comes out of the lineup. No changes to your D pairings. And this is the first of a 2-game road trip for the Jets. And then they And then,
Sorry, I'm distracting you. Do you want me to throw that in there?
sure. Well, I will.
Yeah, you
I'll
throw
throw
it in.
I don't
It's
know
your
why he
train of
messaged
thought.
you. Why wouldn't he message me?
I don't know.
That's fine. I'm hurt
I think
by
I think
this.
he's mad that you said he was causing problems
Probably
in the building.
Dan Robertson sent a text to JT to say that
Meant to send it to you, probably.
that probably I
Yes.
think so. That
Yeah.
he should have mentioned that Kevin Cheveldayoff will be interviewed tonight in one of the TSN intermissions. You'll get to hear from Chevy since this is his first availability after the midway point of the season.
Mhm.
So be able to reflect on what he's seen so far, and I'm sure ask him about.
We should get
what
Dan to
he's
ask
looking
him what Chevy thinks of Doug MacLean.
That's, you just feed him. You send that to him right now.
You ask him, and
We
then ask him to read
always
his book.
appreciate.
Sorry.
We always appreciate all of you that are in the chat. It's great to see so many of you in here.
You're the
It's-
best.
Yes, it is always fun. And we hope that you'll join us again on Wednesday when the Jets are in Colorado, trying to line up some more top-notch guests for that one as well. But always appreciate when our guests come on. Dan Robertson today, Doug MacLean as well. And, this guy's still here.
Yeah, you're still here too. as
Still
well.
here.
Is there a drum solo going on out there right now?
Yeah, some 41's playing here inside Canada Life Center.
Yeah. Can you guys hear that?
Like they made it louder just
Yeah.
on cue
It's
for
like-
it.
I know they're listening. They're watching us on the screen in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. We have to go. Have a fantastic day, everyone. We will see you on Wednesday. Thanks so much.